Hey guys, and welcome back to another spectacular edition of NTom and Volk's Spot of PC. Today we are checking out Shatter by City Interactive, and this is a brick buster sort of game.
Yep, it is very, very similar to Arkanoid with a few tweaks here and there. It was developed by City Interactive, who released this game on the PlayStation Network in July 23rd, 2009. Then it eventually made its way over to PC in 2010, and the Linux Penguin in 2012.
I'm gonna be honest, I mostly picked this due to the game's soundtrack, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, the soundtrack is something truly spectacular. Composed by Module, who is a chap called Jeremiah Ross, who also turns out did the soundtrack for Robot Unicorn Attack 2.
Ah, nice.
But he mostly composes down-tempo, ambient, and classical music. He has a few albums scattered around here and there.
Can you control this loading screen?
Not as far as I'm aware, but then again, I didn't really try.
I was gonna say, that would be amazing. So, okay, talk us through how Shatter works, mate.
So, if you're familiar with Arkanoid, you already are probably aware of how the standard fare of this sort of game works out. But there are a few tweaks. One of them being is that you have the ability to suck and blow.
Ooh.
And that lets you have more control over the ball, so you can get more precise hits, and eventually you can make it so that you can manipulate combos and all sorts of fancy stuff. You also have a power meter, which if you build it up, you can unleash something called a shard storm, which lets you effectively fire bullets and break lots and lots of blocks. But if it's not fully charged, you can hold down the shift key and give yourself a nice shield to protect yourself from falling blocks. And one other thing is that you can launch multiple balls at once, which I demonstrate later on, but I wanted to keep things simple, warm myself up a bit.
Yeah, that's a high-level technique, I think.
Yeah, controlling multiple balls is actually a lot harder than it looks. Like, 2 is maybe fine, but you can have up to 4, and, more balls means more points, because the more blocks that you break in, like, a single second, the more points you get, because that's a combo multiplier, so it'll obviously get you lots more points, but good luck trying to track 4 balls at once.
So are we playing like story mode or campaign right now?
Yeah, there is a story mode in the game, and this is the first level, although I do skip ahead and I pick one of my favourite levels based purely on the soundtrack, and also one of yours.
Nice, nice. I should mention, I got a comment about this, or we did, I should say, during Lemmings, like, why did you skip from, like, easy to taxing? That's because in Spot of PC, we're trying to show off exactly what the game is about within like a set, amount of time. So we just kind of cherry pick the best parts of the game that we feel properly defined, say like Lemmings or Shatter and so on.
Yep, indeedy. And in this case, it was probably mostly influenced by the soundtrack than anything else.
Yep.
So one thing I should also take a note of is that you get lots of different blocks as well. So you got the standard issue blue ones, you hit them once, they break. You've also got these cool explodey things and these arrows that launch towards a set direction and then explode.
Oh, I'm just loving all the colours and whatnot.
It is a pretty colourful game for what it is. It looks simple enough, but it is very colourful where it needs to be.
Okay, this camera angle is like explicitly Arkanoid, I think.
Yes, this is the proper, true Arkanoid setup. There's also another setup that you can get which puts you in a circle, and the pad is sort of set to this 1/4 of a circle, and you got to kind of maneuver the ball around there. It's a lot trickier than it looks, because the ball doesn't behave the way you expect it to a lot of the time. But those usually come in the later levels.
Breakout is another kind of brick buster game, isn't it?
Yep, that is correct. I think Breakout was the one I was more familiar with than Arkanoid, but that was because I mostly played this on the PC where some of the computers just happened to have it on there.
Man, I wish I grew up playing PC games, because doing this series I feel like I've missed out on such a wide variety of games.
Yeah, you have kind of missed out on a fair amount, but don't worry, we'll catch you up in the only way I know how with this here video series.
Well, really, this whole series is about you teaching me the love of PC gaming more than us teaching stuff to anyone else.
It's true. I mean, I'm not a PC elitist by any stretch, but I will say that you do get some experiences in PC that you just can't get anywhere else. So how all the levels work in story mode is that you have 7 stages, and at the end of the 7 stages you then go to fight a boss.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
And after the boss, you go on to the next level, and you just basically progress through each of the levels in turn, although you can stop and start however you want. However, you will lose your accumulated score if you do.
So we're not trying to, like, save the internet or anything like in Child of Eden, I suppose.
No, not exactly. I think we're just a Baton stuck in a testing facility and we somehow managed to escape. And apparently they're not very happy with that.
Oh, it's like Portal in that regard, then.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the intro sort of, like, keeps what you think the story is to your active imagination, I suppose.
Speaking of Portal, do you think that's a fit for a spot PC, or is it so, like, intrinsically multi-platform at this point?
No, I reckon it's doable because it did kind of start on PC, so who knows, maybe we'll see it at a later point.
Yeah, way down the line in 2017.
Yeah, maybe so. Another thing I should probably note at this point, seeing as we got two of them, is that you do also get power-ups. Some blocks will have a chance of dropping you a cool little thing. And I have a list here. You got the plus sign, which gives you a power boost, which fills up your little meter on the top left. A 1-up obviously gives you an extra ball, so more lives is very good, yo. The S symbol gives you a shard increase, so any shards, the little things to the right of the screen there, will actually get doubled. So keeping them on the screen is usually a good idea, although you do want to suck them in because they do increase your multiplier. So keeping them up can be a good idea, just don't keep them up too long, because otherwise you'll complete the level and lose them all. And then the ×2 symbol obviously doubles your multiplier.
Dude, yeah, now this is a boss.
Well, it's a boss, to be precise.
Yeah, snake-like.
This one's very, very, very simple, you know. It's one of those bosses you can actually get a lot of points from, because it's very, very hard to actually hit the part you're supposed to, but it's very, very easy to hit the other segments, which give you butt tons of power-ups and shards and all sorts of cool stuff.
I have to say, like, going over the whole soundtrack, this tune in particular does sound like the boss is talking to you, and it has like a slow and steady build, and it gets faster and faster as it goes on.
Yeah, it does a little bit, actually. I didn't really consider that until you pointed it out. What am I talking about?
It's like, get the fuck back in your prison, mate. There's work to be done.
Slacker. There's also ball power-ups that you can get as well. The one that we're using at the moment is called the Maneuver Ball, which makes your balls more easily influenced by the wind current.
Oh, I'm so immature.
It can make things a bit trickier, but it does allow you to do really cool things like make 180-degree turns and things like that. And the other one you can get is called the Unstoppable.
Nice.
It has similar power-ups like in Arkanoid and Breakout, I believe, where the ball just basically goes through blocks without stopping. It's very good for racking up combos. It's very tricky to get that last hit on him.
Come on!
Like, even with the Maneuver Ball.
Getting some fine ricochets here, I'm digging it.
Come on, take your medicine. There we go.
Ignore my snake body.
There we go. We shatter through the level and we go on to the bonus stage. And as well as getting you points, this is actually very handy for if you used your Shard Blast to actually get more of your power-up bar up. Basically, you just gotta keep hitting these as long as you can until all three fall down, and then you get a bonus score based on how well you did. So it's just a nice little chill session, just, you know, after a particularly challenging boss, I guess. Well, I suppose if you're playing this for the first time, you don't really expect it, so I suppose this sort of thing is very, very welcome.
Did you ever suffer from a sensory overload, like during the recording process for this?
Actually, no. I'm usually pretty good with that sort of thing. Although I can imagine, like, all the lights and stuff can probably wear down on people's eyeballs eventually. Oh, it's getting tricky now. The thing does actually speed up, so this does become a lot harder.
Am I imagining things, or did it like start syncing up with the music there for a second?
I think it may have done, actually. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of parts in this little video where it does actually sync somewhat to the music. Purely accidental, but I thought it was pretty cool nonetheless. And of course you get unlocks as you go through the story mode as well, so you'll get boss rush and time trial and endless mode and things like that. So there's a few different game modes.
Will we be showing off any other modes during the course of this video?
During the end we will show off a little bit of the boss rush and how that works, but it's also just an opportunity to show you some more of the bosses, which I think are probably the more interesting part of the game.
And time trial is just what you've seen already, just with a time limit, I guess.
Yeah, it's more based on time and just racking up a high score.
Okay. Oh, yes!
Now this is the level I picked, Amethyst Caverns. Very, very chill soundtrack. And we got introduced to a few new blocks as well, so we got these little black hole-looky things. So they'll suck your balls in towards it.
Please say projectiles or something.
Alright, it'll suck in your projectiles, and the red diamond things will keep spawning red bubbles, which will essentially stop you from attacking it. God damn it.
Sorry, you're just desperately trying to call with synonyms for balls, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
You can say balls, it's fine.
Yeah, okay then. That's good. Because otherwise it's going to be a very, very tricky playthrough. Especially when it's actually what the official term is.
Okay, fair enough.
So the levels actually get pretty tricky as you go through. Like, you'll notice here that the bricks are actually dislodging themselves from their set place and are actually coming towards you.
What happens if they pass over the left-hand side of the arena without you destroying them?
Well, they do destroy them, and I do believe you still get, like, a couple of points from them, but you do lose your multiplier.
Okay.
So, if you're looking for a high score, you want to make sure you're actually breaking the blocks and not just sort of letting them fall towards the pit. Although it is easier to handle them that way sometimes.
Man, this would be the perfect type of game for, like, Games Master or Gamesville on Sky 1.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty good. I mean, the time limit mode especially. You could have the whole, you must complete this level and this boss within 7 minutes.
I wonder what Dominic Diamond is doing nowadays.
I don't know, actually. I'm pretty sure I've seen him on TV, like, once or twice a few years ago. I think it was for, like, some weird documentary series or something. But yeah, I would like to have seen Games Master get resurrected at some point. That was such a good show.
Oh, this is so chill. It's so chill.
This is a great game for if you're just looking for something to play for, like, half an hour or so. It's absolutely perfect. You can just do a couple of levels, call it a day, and feel like you've sort of done something.
Oh, come on, get the Triforce.
Well, it's actually blowing the balls away from me, and because I got the maneuver balls as well, it's actually blowing them a lot more efficiently.
Ooh, you're pushing the spikes. That's cool.
They're explodey spikes as well, so, you know, even better. They're essentially just missiles for all intents and purposes.
Man, the maneuverables are putting in work.
Oh yeah, they're probably my favourite power-up. Even though they have forsaken me once or twice, I do like that extra control you get.
Are you manually controlling those?
Well, you use the suction and the blow to control the ball's direction somewhat. It's not so much direct control, more than influencing.
Okay.
So usually you're using the blow to make sure that you keep them away from the pit and just sort of make things a lot more easier to control on your end. But you can use the suction as well to bring them towards you to bat them somewhere else. But also it will suck in all of the shards which are needed to get your power-ups and your multipliers. So you can take the safe route just by using blow most of the time, but if you want that high score, you're going to have to master both the suck and the blow.
I swear to God, those X's are ripped straight off a PlayStation controller.
I'm not entirely sure, honestly. I think that might just be a coincidence.
No, it's like a blue X.
Well, how would you say that to all the other things that sort of use that sort of thing, then? I guess
Sony is do some royalty checks, I suppose.
you're not allowed to use the letter X. The alphabet's going to be fucked if that were to happen.
Xehanort is pissed.
It's just not the same ever since he started referring to himself as Airnaut.
Oh, you get it done, mate, you get it done.
Yep, I'm just going to let that lock fall and take out this 1X. And there we go. I do rather dig the backgrounds as well. Like, they're very, very simple, but they're very, very pleasing.
Well, you know you're in a cavern filled with amethyst right now. Best gem, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Although not your favourite. I'm willing to bet I know your favourite is coming up right after this one.
Well, I was speaking in terms of other types of gems, but yeah, in terms of songs, my favourite song in the game is coming up here.
Well, I'm a fist of my birthstone, so I suppose I have a certain level of obligation there.
Yeah, mine is Yellow Topaz.
Now, this level's a bit weird because it kind of sets itself up just as you're getting ready to fire. So it's sort of like they start folding out and it really throws you off.
Gotta work on your ricochets, especially in this level.
When they're dangling about everywhere, it's a lot harder to kind of determine where things are going to be at any given time.
Are you trying to turn this into a carry-on film? I swear to God. They're just dangling everywhere, it gets harder and harder. Look at all the balls flying about.
I can't help it! Although it would be a lot better to say that it was done deliberately and I'm some kind of comedic genius or something. I was actually looking at some of the high scores for this game, and apparently the highest full run-through story mode was somewhere along the lines of 680 million.
Holy shit.
And I'm only just managing like 2 million here, so that goes to show just what potential there is to actually score really highly in this game.
Well, when you put it like that, you're actually doing rather disappointingly.
Well, yeah, I am. I mean, this isn't really my jam. I don't really go for like score-intensive games so much, but I have played this a few times since I got this footage, and I have done a little bit better.
This is a Robotnik boss.
Oh yeah, totally. Just like got all the little battering pads in there. It reminds me of the one from Death Egg in Sonic 3.
Yeah.
That annoying fucker.
Yeah, I never liked that boss. The one after is fine, even if it is like a, a one-hit kill kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but I just don't like it because you have to keep... It seems almost random, so you can't really determine when the spiky things are going to be around where you need them to be.
Yeah.
So I just usually just spam the gravity switcher and then just hope for the best.
Well, just to clarify to the confused audience, we're talking about the one where you have to go upside down and drop the bandits on top of the sphere, right?
Yep, that is the one.
This boss seems a little bit easier than the snake guy.
Well, by this point I kind of learned the ropes a bit better, so I've been just chucking all of the balls I could at him. Just launching as many as I could and just hoping one of them hits home.
Ah, you couldn't take the balls.
Nope. Too much of a battering. Couldn't handle it.
Oh, we're going in through the back door. Oh, for fuck's sake.
No, see, now you're doing it. But on the plus side, we are now in the Argon Refinery.
Yes, this is my jam.
So what particularly drew you to this song, then? I have to ask.
It's both techno and chill, I think, whereas, like, the Amethyst Caverns are just mostly chill.
Yeah, fair enough. You get the 2-for-1 deal in there, I suppose. And since I spoke about score earlier, I should probably tell you all how the scoring system actually works, because it's not entirely as straightforward as you'd think it is. So obviously you got the shard fragments, which increase your multiplier and increase your power. And the multiplier is then applied to every brick you destroy and every combo that you get. And you get the combos, which are triggered for, I think it was taking out 3 blocks in a second, or 3 blocks within the space of a second. And the combo total is determined by the number of bricks you get, the size of the multiplier, and also the speed in which you actually smash the blocks to begin with. So, fast smashy smashy gets you lots of points. And you lose your multiplier by having bricks hit the pit, and also losing your ball. And you've also got some neat little bonuses at the end of each level, like for time bonuses for the boss, the amount of time you use your shard power, and things like that. So there's plenty of scoring opportunities around, but it's more finding the right combination and the right time to use your shard storm that will really rack you up the big points.
Oh, look, it's a smiley face. Destroy it!
It's a double smiley face.
Well, what's going on with these red guys over here?
The red guys are the ones that shoot the bubbles. So you gotta power your way through those if you want to get to the succulent, juicy center, as it were.
Unstoppable.
Yeah, the unstoppable just don't give any shit, so it just plows straight through it. It seems almost unfair with this thing, honestly. But I don't care. I got on this far. I use every trick in the book.
Fair dues, mate, fair dues.
But you can see what I mean by you can't always determine where the ball's going to bounce when you're in this circle thing, because you can just keep using the blow and it'll just sort of keep ping-ponging across the top of the stage. It'll never really get where you need it to go.
This is just like an insane version of one of the levels you fought earlier.
Just a little bit, yeah. The crazy circle.
If you take out the core, does it like cause a chain reaction that blows up all the other blocks?
I don't think so, but I think if you take out that, it will actually loosen up the blocks and they'll start coming towards you.
Ah, okay.
And this is the example of the unstoppable being stopped, because It doesn't stop every single one, it just hits every block, and if it gets destroyed, it will just keep going through. So these blocks that take multiple hits, you're going to have to be a bit more careful with, because otherwise it'll hit it, you think it will go through, it doesn't, and then you lose a ball.
Ah, so when stuff like goes into the pit, it doesn't drain your multiplier entirely, it just like goes down a notch.
Yep, it just goes down by 1, so you don't lose it all, so you can get away with maybe having a few bricks go down there, but you didn't want to make a habit of it. Especially if you're going for those high scores.
That's a lot more fair than I was expecting from this type of game.
Oh yeah, the scoring system in general is just very, very fair, but...
It calls itself a brick buster, type of game, but it's got a lot of rhythm action to it as well.
I mean, it's a very easy game to get into, because of course the whole suction and blowing thing does actually make the game a lot less intensive, but of course you've still got that high scoring affairs element added in there as well, so there's still plenty of competitive nature involved.
Well, it turned into Beat Hazard all of a sudden.
Oh yeah. Another great game, by the way.
Yeah, we've got to cover that at some point.
Oh, I'm sure we will. We just need to find a way that doesn't get us copyright struck because of the music that we use.
Naruto soundtracks for everyone.
All of the anime OP. So yeah, if you use the shield while the blocks are coming down, you will actually get rid of the block without losing your multiplier. Because I was looking it up for sort of like how the scoring system actually works, and one person said that if it hits the paddle you do lose a multiplier, but there are some people that seem to think it doesn't do that at all, so a bit of confusion there on that one, I think.
Oh, you have to think faster there.
The most annoying one is when they collide with each other when you don't expect it, and then they both sort of go their separate ways and you lose them both. That's so annoying.
If only I had 2 ships at that point.
Oh yeah, that's the sort of thing that would benefit from a power-up which lets the paddle grow in size, although I suppose with the mechanic that they've put into the game, you don't really need it.
No, not really. The wind does most of the work.
Yep, indeed. I think if you had a bigger paddle on top of that, the game would just be stupidly easy. Like, almost a non-factor, I would say.
Is there any sort of multiplayer in the game?
Yeah, I believe there actually is, although I'm not sure if it's like a co-op or whatever, but there is as far as I'm aware, at least a local 2-player option. Although I never really had a friend over to play it, so, of course, if you want to find that out, by all means do so.
Yeah, if you've got friends, write in and let us know how Shatter via multiplayer is.
Yep. There we go, coming up to the boss on this one.
Attack of the PlayStation Army!
There's not a square, 0, or triangle in sight.
The X has rebelled.
The X-Master race.
Oh, you're having a bit of trouble with this one.
Oh yeah, there's blocks falling everywhere. I'm managing a bit better on the score front though, admittedly.
×2. Pathetic.
Hey, at least I'm living. That's the important thing.
That's a weird way of putting things into perspective. My score's low, but at least I'm alive.
Well yeah, you don't want to get a game over, and then you'll have a score of 0, and that's not good.
Dude, all these bosses have sick names. Death Blossom, Electric Avenue, they're like stands.
They are a little bit, yeah. Imagine if there was a stand called Electric Avenue. I think that would actually be a thing I would believe.
Wait, isn't that a song? Take me to Electric Avenue and let me take you higher. Or am I thinking
that
of
is
something?
correct.
Yeah,
No, you're absolutely spot on.
Wow, okay.
It's like one of those, like, 90s disco songs.
Nice.
So this boss is actually a lot harder than you think, because not only have you got this fuck-off laser to deal with, but you gotta knock out all of these spark plugs in order to actually damage him. And the spark plugs are still active even when you take them off, so they'll bounce off them, so getting them entirely accurate can be a little bit tricky.
Just imagine if that laser rotated, that'd be a bitch.
Oh yeah, it would. I think I've had my share of rotating lasers ever since I encountered the Beholster and entered the Gungeon. Man, this laser is really, really getting on my nerves.
I just had to pick this level on this level's boss, didn't I?
Oh yeah, I blame you entirely. Hey, there we go. And now it's safe.
Take it on home.
Now we shoot it to death.
Peace, bitch.
Oh, not quite. We've got to shoot it a couple more times. Oh, Oh, he wanted to try and get back in, but he just couldn't.
Wow, that was a hair's breadth away. Oh, we in boss rush mode now?
Yep, we skipped the first boss because, of course, we've already seen that one. So this is the boss of the second level, Blocktopus.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty simple boss. His tentacles will get in the way of you actually taking out the eyeballs, so you gotta just keep on the blow and just sort of curve the balls into its eye.
Never stop sucking is the lesson you should take from this episode of Spot PC.
Never stop blowing. If you never stop sucking, you keep stucking the balls into yourself, and that will cause more problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, this boss isn't too tricky. Like, it's a lot easier to hit him than the first boss, I would say.
Well, the snake is just like a lot bigger.
Yep. This is an interesting boss.
Oh my god, it's the time ear. Sorry, when I see cogs, I think Sonic, you know?
That's fair enough, that's fair enough. I was very, very pleased with this bit. He got the unbreakable barrier up just as I had a ball inside, and it just, like, completely ripped him to shreds.
Nice.
Very, very brutal tactic if you can pull it off. Of course, getting it in there is a lot tougher than it looks, but if you do it accidentally, then, you know, fantastic. This is one of those bosses where you don't want to have more than a couple of balls on the screen at once. Otherwise it just gets a bit too much to control.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be a bit much to deal with. I like how everything slows down when you get laser mode.
Oh yeah, it lets you have a bit more easier control when you're actually using it, so you can actually get your money's worth out of it, I suppose. So, Shatter! What are your thoughts on it in general then, overall?
Never played it, great soundtrack.
Fair enough. Well, I quite dig the game. I mean, it's not the sort of game to look for if you're looking for longevity, unless you're the sort of person that likes going for high scores, but it's a nice little game just to sort of like spend half an hour on just whenever you want something to do real quick. Like maybe a few minutes before you go to work perhaps, or something like that.
Did he send out his own paddles there? Or his own ball, I should say.
Yep, and they're also much bigger than ours, which makes us feel very insignificant.
Inadequate, I think, is the correct term.
He's using our tactic now. Just fire so many he can't possibly deal with them all.
Well, at least they're colour-coded. Wow, is that it?
Yeah, I think I actually got quite lucky with a few of the hits. So he actually went down pretty quickly. Now, this is probably one of my favourite bosses. You got to actually use the wind current to actually expose the weak point and then hit it.
Oh, dude, yeah, I like this.
It's also very, very mean. Fires all sorts of nonsense at you, and then when he goes into rage mode, oh dear.
You're gonna wish you had more balls, let's just put it that way.
Or less. Because he will actually start properly going after you.
That beat is so funky, man. I dig it so much.
I like how it's sort of procedural as well, so it kind of gets more intense as you're going through. There we go, it's getting mad now. It's not going to be very happy with us.
Would it be advantageous to keep your balls at the top of the screen so it can bounce down onto him?
No, because the weak point is actually at the bottom of him, so setting him at the top, whilst it keeps him safe, it's not going to hit him, unfortunately.
Okay guys, that'll do it for this ball-tastic episode of Spot on PC. We'll see you next time for another episode. Bye bye for now.